we'd like to sincerely thank our Patreon supporters.
What's going on, everyone? It is a beautiful Saturday morning, and I am out by the enclosures plugging away as usual. One of my major concerns right now is the fact that we do not have an airlock. Even though this hallway's here, if it's not closed off and all these doors are not here and there's no roof there, there's no wall at the end of that row, like if something gets out past the door, it's free, it's loose. It's not a proper airlock unless it's sealed like the other hallway. Whereas if an animal gets past us at a door, it is technically in another enclosure. Raven is sitting on her screen right there. Well, I did just walk through here, so that other door is open. I just walked through here. I'm pulling food trays because today is feeding day also. But this is another cage. If an animal gets past us at a door, they're in this cage. Screened on the roof, the doors latch and actually lock and everything. This actually locks from the inside as well as I can lock it from the outside. But if someone's gonna break in from my property, they would probably come from the rear. So they think they would be more obscured. There's plenty of cameras on the back half of my property, but the back of the hallway locks from the inside. I can't do it all in one video, but what I can do is the next step with you guys. And I think the next step is to seal up this roof and this back wall. I think that's an appropriate. Doing the roof is a massive undertaking. It's a lot of up and down on ladders. It's a heck of a lot of staples. And as you know, I do that stripping on top of anything that I staple. We did skip it on the other hallway. I think I now want to go back and do it on the hallway, but we do it on all of the enclosures themselves. And I can show you a perfect example of something that's not stripped. Staples have backed out. One of those staples, wood expands and contracts and can push things out. I don't know if you guys can see. We're getting a rain shower as we're filming this. I'm gonna stop. We're gonna come back out here after this little sun shower quits. It stopped raining, so now I'm out here. What I'm gonna do first is get all these 4x4s, these 12-foot 4x4s that I have just setting in place. This 2x4 here is so the screen can be stapled on. There needs to be one above that as well. I might as well get those done for the entire row. There doesn't need to be one on the end. This is the 4x4 post sitting there. All I have to do is screw this block here so it'll hold it, and then one on the other end as well. My line's already there. It's starting to fade because it's been there so long. Screw one on, that'll hold the post. And I put a 3-inch and a 4-inch toenailed in there, a 4-inch and a 3-inch. So I just stagger the 4-inchers, and that holds it fine. That's quite a bit of screw holding it in. But then the screen also does a lot, and then the stripping. So I mean, its strength is in triplicate. This is very heavy duty screen that I use. 16 gauge coated. It's a heavy screen. So that actually holds this board in some way and stops it from warping. And this doesn't even have the stripping on the outside yet. So I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna get all those done and then get all the 2x4s that are missing from above, get all those in place, see what we can get done before it starts raining again. All right, guys, I have all the 4x4 posts done, going all the way down. And now I have all the 2x4s above them done. So now the 4-foot screen that goes above here has a place to be stapled, top, sides, bottom, all the way across. Now, I don't have the 4-foot roll of screen to do all of these right now. I wish I did, because I would do all of these 4-foot lengths, and then I would do the little gussets for the roof to stiffen it all up, because these 2x4s could move quite a bit. So by putting another 2x4 in the center there, it just stiffens everything up. And remember, I do have to walk across this to staple it and put the strips up and put the shade cloth in this screen. So I need to be able to walk on this roof quite a bit. So what I'm gonna do is hang what screen I can. I think I can do 4 sections. So I will hang the 3 sections that I can in the beginning. So that'll be 1, 2, 3 to right here. And the 4th one, I'll seal up the very end. And then I will cut my 2-foot screen that I have available and see how many of these I can do with it as well. As long as I can do the first 2 enclosures for sure, because we're trying to get those done for another video. And the last one, and then any other ones we can, will burn up that screen. And then it's easier to count and see what we need to finish the entire project. So we're gonna get that done. But one of the other steps that I noticed we skipped in row 3, probably because I ran out of them, were the gussets. You know, I put these gussets in here to stiffen everything up. Stops the whole enclosure from swaying and stuff like that. And there's quite a few of them missing. So here's one that I took down to be able to put up a 2x4. And this gusset will just sit flat against that 2x4, flat against there. 2 3-inch screws in it, or 2 top, and again, it's much easier when you're not holding a camera, but that will just stiffen everything up. Not just one, but I probably need to put up like 30 of them. They go all over the place. It gives an additional place to screen to screw logs onto, but we don't even have all of them in row, maybe we don't even have all of them in row 2. It seems like a step that I kind of slacked on. We made it through a hurricane, no problem, but they should all be there. So I'm gonna go through all my scrap 4x4s and cut all I can and go back and put all the gussets we can up, even more than what we need for this video. I had to pull the brakes on that. So I started to cut all the gussets and there were some red ants in the pile, so I slowed down on that. I got enough to do all the gussets I needed in this row 4. I think I have all the gussets I need. If I add any additional gussets, like in row 1, we don't have one there. And maybe I figured because a doorway was so close that I didn't need it. For whatever reason, this matches row 1. The additional ones that I cut, I have a bunch sitting over here and I still have some by the chop saw. I'll sprinkle those into these enclosures as I work on them. Just can't burn all that time doing that today. Nor the screws. I'm gonna run out of 3-inch screws if I start doing all the gussets. So what I'm gonna do next, I think, is start cutting that 4-foot screen. I can measure out this, set my roll here, and set the couple that I have there. Once I have the 4-foot screen hung, these additional 4x4 posts that aren't gonna have any screen on them to hold them, and it could be a couple weeks before I get to do that. What I'll do is I'll take a scrap piece of corral board, go in an area where it's not in the room in the way of that gusset. So if that gusset is dead center, take a scrap piece of corral board and screw it right here and here. And that way this doesn't sag more. And it'll be held rigid for when we do hang the screen on it later. So I will do that on all the other ones that don't have screen for them immediately. If you guys can see, if anything, if the 4x4s were a little askew, I have them where they're a little high in the middle and they'll settle to level. So maybe that second one, I might actually, that second and third one, I may have to push down a little bit and lock them a little bit lower. I'm gonna get that screen cut and just set it in place for now. All right, the end of row 4 is done, so that's now sealed. Minus the doors in the hallway, everything is sealed. Now we got to start doing the dividers. We only have the 3 rolls of 4 foot to go across, so I'm going to hang those, and then I'm going to cut and hang all the 2 footers that I can, and that's going to give me my list of what I need to order to finish all the black coated screen. And that's it for all the monitors out here. I will have the iguana enclosures later. I will have the tortoise enclosures later, water turtles. There's gonna be stuff in the future, but I wanna get past this project for the end of winter. So plugging forward, I'm gonna get these 3 rolls hung, cut all the 2 footers, and I'm gonna show you once all that is hung. All right, I cut all the pieces of 2-inch, or I'm sorry, all the pieces. It's getting late in the afternoon and I'm getting tired. 2 foot coated screen. The wood, the corral board wall will get built over that, and then that will get stapled from the back side to the corral board, as you guys see that wall there, and it is stapled from the back side, so the screen can go up first. In fact, it's actually better that way. So we've gotten the 4 foot and the 2 foot on these 3, and then 1 with just the 2 foot. So a 50 foot roll, these are just over 12 foot. We'll do 4 sections. So if you guys think about it, a $200 roll of coated screen only does 4 panels for me. So that panel is $50. That one is slightly less. Maybe that one's $25 or somewhere's in between. I don't know. It's stinking expensive to build these enclosures, but 1 more roll will finish us. We need 4 more, and only 3 of the 2 foot. We'll have a little extra for future projects with the 2 foot. So I need to get that ordered. The next step for what we have is going to be putting in the bucks. Now obviously where the screen is up is great because I don't have to notch around it, but once we get past these 3, when I hang this 4 foot roll, I will have to hold it to where that 2x4 comes off of that beam, and I will actually have to notch it while I'm holding it and push it up to level, go over there, make sure it's right, and if it's still binding, roll it back up, trim where it's hitting that 2x4 or something, obstructing it, and roll it back out, stretch it tight. That screen is heavy. It's not easy to get it stretched tight and good, and it doesn't even come all that straight like you would think it would. It lays out flat in the middle and has all sorts of waves on both sides. It's just like everything. It's getting built cheaper and cheaper and costing more and more. So I'm gonna get the roof done as far as I can with the galvanized material. I believe I have enough to finish this entire roof. I would love to get past this entire roof, put the strips on it, and this entire roof is done. Because then the next step would be, and on a following video, we would probably have to do all the plumbing in here. Once the plumbing is done in here, which would be great to have a hose bib in here, and it's this hallway's hose. Doing that plumbing also means that we're gonna be able to get plumbing to the birds and the rabbits. So that'll be really good. The rabbits are loving this weather. They're just, you see them running around. And then we can pour this threshold and build the door that seals and secures this hallway. It's about 4 p.m., 5 p.m. Oh, it's probably like 5 p.m. 6 o'clock, Kagan and I are going to the Okeechobee Extreme Rodeo with our friend Brandon. So I'm gonna go get cleaned up, go have some fun and rest tonight, and then tomorrow morning we'll be on that galvanized screen. All right guys, the middle supports are up for the entire roof. Got them all the way down. So So the next step is to put the screen up. So hopefully I have enough screen to do all of it. It'd be nice to finish this video up with getting this entire roof sealed, and then the next video we could do the plumbing like I said and get that back door done, which would be stinking amazing. This has been a long time coming, but looks pretty cool to see screen on the back of that hallway, see it all sealed up. Still needs the wood stripping on the outside as well as this entire back side and the front and the hallway. So a lot of wood stripping to do all the way around on all the screen, but really cool. Feels good to be getting this done. I'm gonna get up on the ladder. You know, that's my favorite thing to do, balance up there on that roof on those little 2x4s. But I'll get up there and get it done. All right, I have all the screen that I had cut and other pieces that I had to cut. We're almost to the end. We just need these 4 pieces and these 2 little slivers of pieces on the very end. And while we're at it, I think we have 8 pieces in the play area that would need to be done. So I need to order screen. I think I'll just grab a 100-foot roll because that screen I will use again. Yeah, where the shade tarp was when the rabbits were temporary in here, this roof isn't done in this section. I think we need to flip that 2x4 upside down if you guys see it smiling. I would rather it have a little bit of a positive arch, and then the weight will settle it where it needs to be, but we'll actually flip that 2x4 before we hang the roof. But that'll be for another video. All right guys, so what I'm doing now with my table saw, I'm covered in sawdust, the saw's covered in sawdust. I've got it set to 3/4 of an inch heavy, and I'm ripping these 12-foot 2x4s into 3/4 inch strips. I've got 5 of them ripped. I've got 1 more left to do. This is cheaper, straighter, and less work because a 12-foot strip takes me all the way and across the enclosure in 1 strip. So it actually makes that 2x4 roof truss stronger when I screw it all together. So it helps in many ways as well as securing the screen. So I'm gonna set you guys up on time lapse. We'll rip this last board and we'll get to installing them. All right guys, I am standing up on top of the enclosure and I'm starting to, now you guys get to see what I have to walk on up here. Starting to put the new strips down. There are 2 there because 1 screen ends on that 4x4 and another 4-foot roll ends on that 4x4. So I actually need 2 there. These are overlapping on a 2x4, so just 1 is sufficient. In the middle, I will have to cut strips because since the screen isn't as straight as it should be to do, and my construction is maybe not as straight as it needs to be. If this was a house, it would have to be perfect. It's a cage. Sometimes I hang these 2x4s and they sit up there a while, or the 4x4s, and things get a little askew. The screen doesn't lay on perfect, so it's easier for me to cut it in 75-inch lengths and hang half, overlap there, hang the other half, and it just gives me a better product. But I do need to put stripping where they overlap there all the way across on the middle. I have to finish the edge. So far I've only put 2, and I will work my way down keeping it straight, and then I have to do a strip over there. So I have to strip all the way into that last new one over there, and then we'll be good for today. I'm gonna get to it. So now I have all the 12-foot strips It goes far enough to the end, but remember we have those four sheets and those 2 slivers on the end. I'm out of breath. I've been hustling. It's threatening to rain, so trying to get this done. It's already drizzled on me a couple times, so I'm gonna try and get all these middle strips done and up here before I can't work. All right, guys, I am 3 little sticks short of having it all done. These are just the steps to get it all sealed in, but it is pouring down rain on me right here. I'm gonna go inside and start a second video, but I think that's it for this one. Next video on this completing this airlock, like I said, is gonna be that plumbing, that door threshold, and that back door. I'm gonna go get out of the rain. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And don't forget to check out our other platforms. We've got TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Look us up. All right, guys.